All right, just about set for kickoff here, Deuce. The Buena Bulldogs and the Royal Highlanders. Royal set to take the field as we ready for the start of the prep football season. Buena will do so in a little bit of a more unceremonious manner as they run through the cheerleader lineup. The Royal players will bust through the large inflated helmet, awash with smoke, too. It's quite a sight in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah, if they could really get that smoke going there, they'd have a hard time getting that steam getting out of there.
There you go. It's a good shot of what we're looking at here. It's a nice little scene, isn't it, Derry? Boy, can you think about anything but the last time we were here, Royal against Simi. And it seems to me that that's the type of game you think that Royal really needs to avoid as a shootout, a high-scoring game. Do you think that's problematic for the Highlanders?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of been their Achilles heel the last couple seasons. They've given up a lot of points, 30, 40 points. They've been playing some really good teams who are giving up 30 and 40 points. But, I think they need to keep this game within, holding Buena to like about 3 touchdowns. I mean, if they can do that, then they have a real shot at winning. They have a JV team, played really good defense last year, gave up only 18 points per game. So that's a good sign. And they have a lot of juniors on this roster. They've got like 11 juniors that will play key roles for Royal. 4 of them be playing both ways. So, can those guys sustain it for 4 quarters? We'll see. Buena has some young guys too. They've got 3 sophomores that could be playing key roles for them. So it's going to be interesting to see.
It's funny that you brought up the 3 touchdowns, Deuce, because that's exactly what the lock predicted Royal to score, a 24-21 win. Our very own Lauren Ledeen anticipates for Royal. And Buena's not happy about it, by the way. Tim Gutierrez told me down there, he said, our boys are fired up. They saw that the lock picked 24-21 Royal. We think we're going to go out and win this thing.
Hey, every coach is like that.
Yeah,
I've never known a coach who hasn't been upset that his team hasn't been picked to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Kickoff just seconds away here for Royal against Buena, the VCS Preps Game of the Week, presented by AAA Travel. For all your vacation needs, visit your local Ventura County Auto Club office in Ventura, Camarillo, Thousand Oaks, or right here in Simi Valley. That's AAA.com/travel.
Buena got off to a really slow start last year. They lost their first 3 games by a margin of 109-24. So I'm sure that is something that they have definitely brought up to their team this year. We need to get out of the chute quicker.
I think both teams are really looking to do exactly that.
Wouldn't take a second, just throw it up.
He throws that one up to the 40-yard line in a first down. Sorry there, Deuce, but a nice completion for Buena. There's Blake Burnett getting his first reception of his senior year and building a little confidence. Yep. Opening drive.
That was just a really – and I think what we'll see, especially to a lot of these young receivers, is little short passes like that to give them some confidence, and then they can open it up.
Here's a swing pass to Noah Martinez, Derry, and Martinez only had 12 receptions. Martinez only had 12 receptions. All of last season, and Buena plans to use him a lot more.
As a sophomore, he got 24.
Well, he's got 1. That's a decent start. Josh Cookson, who will help spell Martinez. And all of a sudden, 3rd down and 9. Starting offensive linemen for the Bulldogs, Jake Coleman, David Orozco, Cade Johnson at center, Justin Price, And Jacob Lyle.
This is taking a long time to get this play going.
As you can see on the clock, just over 2 minutes into this game. 7-step drop. Mijares looking to run beyond the line of scrimmage, wheeling out to the left side, and he's ultimately brought down by Shane Sandvig, the senior linebacker, and the Bulldogs will be forced to punt.
Well, they've got a really good punting back game. You know, last year they averaged nearly 37 yards per punt.
Jacob Bentivolio back to punt for Buena. Kicks this away. It's initially fumbled. Now a little room to charge out to the left side, trying to reverse field, and really going nowhere ultimately is Ryan Pench, who is the two-way star for the Highlanders, just a junior. He'll be absolutely crucial, and not exactly the ideal start, but I'm sure he'll get back in the game, if you will. And trotting onto the field to lead Royal, 3 minutes in, Matt Shimbato, excuse me. Old habits die hard, don't they? As we look forward to seeing what this now junior quarterback can do. Starts with 4 wide receivers. Just an easy, quick throw over the middle. That's complete, Derry, to Lucas Toth. You really like to see that confidence building.
Yep. And early. You know, get that confidence going early. Not just for the quarterback, for the receivers.
So a first down immediately. Let's introduce you to the players that will surround Shimbato. Ruger Meza in the backfield, a more than 1,000-yard rusher a year ago. At the wideout positions, Ryan Pench, Lucas Toth, Johnny McGinty will give the linemen some love after this play. The motion man is McGinty, and McGinty hit right at the line of scrimmage. Big Ed DeLeon doing it for Buena, the 5'11", 210-pound senior. As we roll through this starting lineup just before 2nd and 11, Anthony Vargas at the right tackle spot. Jacob Miller, an all-league right guard. Jordan Beneventi, the center. Michael Piper, left guard. And Tyler Orsini, one of the stars, a returning starter on both sides of the ball for the Royal Highlanders. 2nd down and 11. Dropping back, Shimbato looking left. That's caught right at the sticks. First down, is it not, Deuce?
Yep.
Dylan Reynolds, 6 catches a year ago, 7 in his career now, we can say. 1st and 10, Royal, what's working so far?
Well, I tell you what, he is so relaxed in the pocket. And he throws, that was 2 really easy throws. There's just he's not feeling any pressure at all.
He made them easy, I think.
Yeah.
That throw across the field just now was not an easy throw. He made it look easy. Here's Shimbato,
well,
going to go deep on this one.
He's got a really live arm.
Yeah, he just laid it out there. A little bit too much mustard on the pass, intended for Ryan Hoffenberg, who also starts at cornerback. But, you know, that's one thing when I talked to Kevin Fly that he discussed in regards to Shimbato, that he's not bothered by mistakes. He's not easily rattled. And I think that's evident right away, isn't it?
It sure is. Boy, he's, you know, that last half of the season has really given him the confidence to come into the season and just do whatever he wants.
3 wide receivers now split to the far side, as you can see. Shimbato flush.
Boy, what a great move.
And gets right near the sticks. It was a little stutter step, wasn't it?
He had there was 2 defenders on the outside, and he just kind of shuffled and then went straight up the middle, right through the pocket, and found some great run room. First down.
First down. 79 of 148, 7 touchdowns and 904 yards in his last 5 games. So he got his passing numbers up from under 100-yard average in the first 5 up to a point where he was averaging nearly 200 yards passing a game in the final 5 and completing more than half his passes. So he really started to feel it more and more as the year progressed.
Yep.
Like there might have been a jump, not called. Here's Meza's first carry. Meza at the 40. Meza with a little cutback down inside the 35. 5-yard line is where it will be marked, actually. 1st and 10, Royal move those chains. I think this drive, though, Derry, is really all built on the confidence that was established by that opening pass.
Sure.
1st down, pick up 10 yards, give your young QB a bit more confidence as the season starts.
Well, they've already had 4 plays of 10 yards or more.
Buena has 1 first down to 3 for Royal. Here's Meza. Little stutter step, and he carries a defender inside the 30, 2nd and 4 on the way. Buena's starters on the defensive side of the ball, Ed DeLeon, Jacob Olsen, and Frank Sandoval make up the defensive line trio. It's a 3-4, maybe 3-3-5, you could say in some ways for the Dogs. Tyler Oliveras, Josh Davila, Justin Rios, talented sophomore linebacker there. Drew Mathis, the junior. And the secondary, Moises Vargas, Anthony Castillo, Richard Morales, and Cameron Carroll, who was named as one of the players to watch by Cal High Sports earlier this morning. Tipped in the air and intercepted. Big turnover back to the Bulldogs.
12, number 12.
Just knocked up in the air. And Anthony Castillo comes down with it. Intercepted by Buena. And back come the Bulldogs. What a way to turn momentum. On 1st down and 10, Maharis, play action. They wanted to go big. Now he's flushed, and he's going down. The ball's on the ground. It came loose, and it's back to Royal. An interception followed by a fumble. It almost just looks like a 16-yard gain. The back-to-back turnovers. And it's 1st and goal, Royal on the 10-yard line. What a start to this first period of this opening game.
Well, that's the 2nd sack already for the Royal defense.
2 sacks and a fumble recovered inside the 10. And there's no way Shimbato will miss out on this opportunity.
Looks like it's just outside the 10. So they have a chance to get a 1st down. Oops.
Well, if you have a look, though, the 1st down markers are on the ground. The chains are on the ground. So there's only goal to go, I should say.
Well, I wonder why they have the yard marker, though, is behind the line. You know, they should have the yard marker inside the 15.
I absolutely see what you're saying, but the chain gain is taking a break, and that means it's goal to go.
Well, but when they set the ball the next time,
I don't make the rules, Terry. I just abide by.
I'm just saying.
Here's Shimbato, straight drop, flush, and he'll go down. Really a fine sack there for the Buena Bulldogs. It's Jake Coleman who is playing 2 ways. He'll not play on the defensive line all the time. And in our brand new interactive chat room, one user is noting that Coleman is being looked at possibly as a D1 center. Look like a D1 defensive lineman there to me. 2nd and 13 now. Motion man, Pench. Castillo motions with him. Another tough throw for Shimbato. And that's poked away. And that's Cameron Carroll, Derry. You read up on him earlier today. Yep. He's really looking like the standout defensive performer for Buena and maybe even in this game.
That was a great defensive play. Got his hand right there.
.5:16 to play. Buena and Royal scoreless in the VCS Preps Game of the Week presented by AAA Travel. Make sure you're following us on Twitter as these games go along tonight. That's at VCS Preps. We will keep you updated on all the scores. Obviously, the new chat format we're working with is absolutely outstanding.
Timeout Royal.
Thank you, sir. All this is brought to you by VCStar.com. VCStar.com is your local news site. Nowhere else can you find the most comprehensive and up-to-date news, sports, and entertainment, all about what's happening in your city and neighborhood. VCStar.com today, where Ventura County goes for news. Obviously.
I really like the new design they put out over the summer. It's really easy to see things.
Straightforward.
Yeah. They've really kind of packaged it well, where you can go into the neighborhoods or the outdoor section or the prep section, and they've got the headlines. It's really good, and they got photos out there.
Well, and not to mention there's a lot more video coverage, which you know I love.
Oh, yeah. Mr. Video.
Mr. Video. I've
Mr.
never been called that before, but thank you.
Well, that was one of the nice. That's the only nice thing I can say about you.
Danny Page, or excuse me, Mr. Video here, live with the Deuce.
You used to do a lot of that.
Is that how we should introduce it?
You used to do a lot of that.
Mr. Video.
Mr. Video.
You're Mr. Pencil.
Pencil pusher.
It's good to be back here with you, Deuce. So many years for, I guess you could say, both of us following Ventura County football now. Shambato, he'll go back to the end zone.
Oh, well,
nearly intercepted again. Didn't it look like a Buena?
Almost looked like he was about to ready to catch it, too.
Two Royal players sort of intersected, and the Highlanders are going to have to settle for a field goal attempt. Boy, that's frustrating, isn't it? Inside the 10, you get a false start penalty.
I tell you what, give credit to the Buena defense.
No question.
After the turnover, they have really stood out in this stand to make some great plays. They've made 3 really good defensive plays in this series when they needed it.
You know, I think you're right. It was more about what Buena did right instead of what Royal did wrong. Pench will hold for Cabanas, the junior, a lefty. Cabanas puts that one up, and he gets it. The first points of the young season here on the VCS Preps Game of the Week. Cabanas with that field goal, I want to say from 36 yards, Jerry.
I would say so, sir.
And it is 3-0. I'm bringing in my soccer terminology, whether you like it or not. And that's where we stand. Given the circumstances, Buena frustrated by turning the ball over after that turnover. They haven't done what they want to on the offensive side of the ball. I think they have to be pretty pleased that it's just 3-0 right now.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a momentum builder for them to hold Simi Valley hold Royal to a field goal. Here in Simi Valley, it's going to kind of be a little bit confusing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're obviously, as you can tell, at Simi Valley High School, Royal had a new turf put together. And, well, it's not yet put together. The turf won't be complete on what is a beautiful facility at Royal High School. It will not be done until about week 5. Royal doesn't care. They're happy playing anyone, anywhere at this point. And that goes into the end zone for a touchback. Remember, Royal's here now in this new Camino League with Newberry Park and Thousand Oaks. Camarillo's joined, and Coach Fly said, I think it's a great situation for all of us. He told the Star, my feeling is we're playing teams just like us. And I also feel that way when you look at this matchup against Buena. You know, these schools used to scrimmage a lot back in the 90s because they had a lot in common as far as, players, types of teams. And I think we see that tonight already, don't we?
Yep. Well, they had 2 longtime coaches, Rick Scott at Buena and Hubel Hart at Royal.
Penalty flag down. Nice run by Noah Martinez. Appears it will all go for naught, holding against the Buena Bulldogs.
That was a nice little shuffle pass in there.
Just another little wrinkle we'll see from Gutierrez. I feel like in his, third season now at Buena, he'll have an opportunity to open the playbook more with a quarterback he's more familiar with.
Yeah.
Starters, defensively for Royal, Aaron Gomes, Zach Rohner, Zach Kaiser, and Tyler Orsini. Straight across the 4-man front, linebackers, talented group Jesse Landman and Matt Sanders and Shane Sandvig, the senior. Inside handoff. Nice little dodge to make it up to the 19, nearly back to the original line of scrimmage for Josh Cookson. In the secondary, familiar names. We've called every one of their names offensively, frankly. The receiving quartet is the entire secondary for Royal. It's Pench, Toth, McGinty, and Hoffenberg. Pitch left side. Here's Cookson again, continuing to spell. Noah Martinez carries to the 27. 3rd down and 3. I'd like to see Buena maybe stick it right up the middle. Keep the ball on the ground here. Give it to Noah Martinez. Going to the air hasn't worked for them thus far. So frequently in contemporary football, everyone sees 3rd down and thinks it's time to throw the ball.
I think after a couple of blitzes have gotten to Manjares, they've decided, hey, let's run the ball and kind of have the defense back on the heels.
They snap it directly to Noah Martinez. Coach Gutierrez, he feels me. He was listening in on that one, I think, dudes. Inside of 4 minutes to go, and it's a 1st down for Buena. Positive way to start after giving up the opening points of the season.
Yep. Now just kind of, let's just kind of move the stick a little bit. Let's get a little confidence going with the offense. Well, I like this offensive set over here. 3 wides to the right.
A bubble screen as the wide receivers move across the middle to block for Cookson. Cookson still going, trucks a would-be tackler, and gets beyond the 45-yard line. 1st down for the Dogs, and the sideline starting to get a little fired up.
To make the plays quick, so they keeping that pressure away.
Inside handoff. Still a good 4-yard gain. Sets up a decent 2nd down and 6. And boy, we're seeing Josh Cookson more than I would have thought.
Oh, yeah. He looks good.
Yeah, he does. He, too, is a senior, 5'8", 173 pounds.
You know, he's caught the ball. He's run right up the middle.
Straight drop, easy throw. And a nice grab as well for Blake Burnett. Still going. Finally corralled down at the 38. Burnett looks to be the marquee target through the air, at least at this point, for Martin Mijares.
Yeah.
Trip set to the near side. Their talented would-be tight end, Connor MacArthur, is set as the near side wideout as a pitch left to Cookson. Cookson hauled down in the backfield but stays on his feet.
Nice move to the outside.
Tyler Orsini had him in his grasp, and Cookson, yes, I know it only goes for a 4-yard gain area, but he was 3-4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I would call that about 7 or 8 from the wideout, from the running back standpoint.
Boy, he just keeps his feet moving. He's a really good running back.
2nd down and 6, ball spotted at the Highlander 34.
He will stay on the field. Now Noah Martinez is down as a slot wide receiver with Connor MacArthur in that near side trips formation. Mijares, long drop, goes over the middle, and it's dropped. Blake Burnett had it in the palm of his hands, and we would have seen a 1st and goal situation for the Dogs, if not a touchdown.
Yep.
It was very close.
Well, they set up that play really, really well with all the short things, and then he's able to take a drop and have some time to throw.
Really a cool, easy throw. But this isn't exactly an easy 3rd down after that drop. Cookson motions to the near side, spreads the Royal defense, goes right back to Burnett, and this time Burnett has it inside the 10 to the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown, Buena. The Bulldogs get inside the goal line first. They lead 6-3. I think a little bit of mental adversity the key on that drive, forgetting about earlier errors.
Yep. Well, it goes back to the defense gave the offense some life. After the offense had made a mistake and turned it over, defense made the play, and it had to transmit over to them.
The PAT by Bentivolio, up and good. He was near perfect last year, did miss 4 out of 35 on the year. Solid figure. And it's 7-3. The Buena Bulldogs lead, 1:49 to go in the first quarter. What did they do right on that drive that they did wrong on their previous 2?
Well, the previous 2 looked like they were trying to drop back. The Royal defense was geared to put pressure on the quarterback. They sacked him a couple times. This time, they established the run right up the middle to where they found holes where the defense was trying to blitz, and they put the defense on heels a little bit. They create some time for the quarterback to throw a couple deep passes, and got them going. Tell you what, this may be more than a 24-21 game, the way these two teams are moving the ball.
Yeah, I think that.
We've got two good offenses out here.
Completely agree with you. Here's Pench back to return this. Goes up to the 15, to the 20. Pench still going beyond the 45 to the 40. Now at the 50, 40, 30. It's a foot race. 20, 15, 10, 5, and he's brought down inside the 5-yard line. He just bursted through that wedge at about the 35. He strode to midfield and was hauled down inside the 5-yard line. First and goal for Royal. Kind of brings back memories of a young man we saw star in the return game as Royal beat Simi, Derek Okpays, who's moved on.
Boy, I tell you, that Okpays, he played one heck of a game last year. He was the player of the game, I thought.
85-yard return by Ryan Pench.
Now, very important for Royal to punch this in. Here's River Mesa. Absolutely nothing. Coleman is there, along with Frank Sandoval and Ed De Leon. That D-line crew looks tough up front for Buena.
I tell you what, their red zone defense is absolutely fantastic right now.
This is a really important stage for Royal to put 6 points on the board. As the clock was stopped and now the referees asked it to run again.
Second down and goal from the 7.
A T-style formation. Play action, Mesa.
Oh.
Shimbato throws back across the field, and it's really
I
too
tell you
far
what,
for anyone.
If he had just thrown it right away.
Back over the top.
Because his receivers was wide open. He hesitated, and he should have just, and then it was too late. By then, the defender was able to get over there. Well-designed play, but just not executed well.
Austin Martinez, who was in as a extra blocking back, lines up more as a wide receiver, also plays at linebacker, of course. He's out. And Royal will resume their spread set. Meza just set to the right of Shimbato. Motion man McGinty. Shimbato probably will keep it to the right. Has the option to throw. Heading back and just throws it out of bounds. Wow, oh wow. Royal held to a field goal attempt again, 2 times inside the 10, and they have yet to come away with 6 points.
Boy, I tell you what, that is 6 great plays within the red zone for the defense for Buena, and we're still not out of the first quarter, so great job.
Omar Cabanas. So you can hear the students chanting his name a little bit. A southpaw. See what the lefty kicker can do. Nice hold. And he hits that one. Cabanas 2 for 2. 7-6 Royal with 67 seconds left in the opening quarter of play here at Bob Jacob Memorial Stadium at Simi Valley High School on the VCS Preps Game of the Week presented by AAA Travel. Hey, if you've got a lot of school spirit, you'll want to check out the Ventura County Stars School Spirit Showdown at vcstar.com/school spirit. Your school could win $500 and participants are registered to win individual prizes as well. That's vcstar.com/school spirit. Go check it out. A couple scores coming into us, as you can see as well. San Juan Hills leads Thousand Oaks 13-7. Moore Park out in front of Quartz Hill on the road in the Antelope Valley 9-0. Oxnard leads Santa Barbara after a Raymond Caldera 11-yard TD run, and Newberry Park up 7-0 over, I believe it's Birmingham out of the city section. That is correct. Westlake and Canyon about to get underway. We'll have some updates from these games a little bit later on. That goes out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. Buena back to work. It surprised me early on here that Noah Martinez hasn't been the focus that we may have thought. And Terry, we saw him go through a really challenging moment in his young career, obviously, that Ventura High School game and an embarrassing 31-0 defeat. Martinez was ejected for fighting. He was suspended for the final game of the season. He'll line up on the far side in the slot position. He seems to have matured and really grown from that experience.
Well, he wasn't really suspended. It was automatic.
Right, but
he couldn't play automatically.
Yes, but that's a suspension.
Okay.
Nonetheless, he was automatically suspended.
Right.
We'll call it that.
Okay, there you go. That's better. It's not like the coach suspended.
But thoughts on how he could kind of grow from that experience?
Yep. Well, it's it's up to him. I'm sure he's going to just let his feet do the action, do the talking for him.
Been lining up, more at a wide receiver position though. It's a little bit different than what he's used to.
But I mean, as a sophomore, like we say, he caught 24 passes. I mean, they've got confidence in this guy.
Cookson, and you see why. Swing pass, works to the 40-yard line. What could be the final play of this quarter, 7 yards. Just gives you an added dimension, I guess, if you use Cookson out of the backfield and then Noah Martinez as a wide receiver. Maharis will let it run down, and that will bring to a close the opening quarter of play here at Simi Valley High School as the Buena Bulldogs lead the Royal Highlanders 7-6. Not a bad first quarter, Deuce.
Not a bad first quarter. I tell you what, some really good plays, some great defense by Buena. And I tell you what, big play by the getting that kick returner stopped at the 2-yard line.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
That was a great play. That saved 7 points.
To make that play, a hustle play,
it's a hustle play, yep. Never to give up. I mean, it could have been easy because he was behind him by about 1.5 yards the whole way, and he made up ground. He was able to get that tackle right inside the 5.
And you know what? One thing that shows with that kind of hustle from Buena special teams, it shows how much faith they really do have in their defense.
Yep.
Because by making that tackle inside the 5, you're basically saying, I know my defense can make this stop, and they did. They've done it twice now inside the 5-yard line.
Well, it's probably those defensive guys saying, hey, this guy made a big play. Let's kind of keep it. Let's make this one go. Let's make this stop.
Absolutely. This is the VCS Preps Game of the Week presented by AAA Travel for all your vacation needs. Visit your local Ventura County Auto Club office in Ventura, Camarillo, Thousand Oaks, or Simi Valley. Been traveling a lot lately, and some of that certainly was through AAA Travel. It's a great source of information. Even head down to your local office. 2nd down and 4. Straight give. Cookson. 1st down and more. Cookson beyond the 50. Tackled down by Dylan Reynolds. And they're starting to get into a rhythm. They're starting to really assert themselves offensively, these Buena Bulldogs.
They really are. After that, even that first possession where they really they just had that one first down. Boy, they've really shown some really good signs. Passing has really clicked. Nice short passes, and they keep getting 4 and 5 yards per play.
One thing that we talked about with Shimbato was not getting rattled, that he really has a thick skin. But I think we're seeing the same thing from Maharis. He was hit hard twice at the start of this game and seems to have really shaken it off. 2nd and 6, straight drop. Maharis downfield again, and it's just a little bit deep for Blake Burnett. Derry, that's the second time we've seen Burnett one-on-one on that post route. I feel like that's something that Royal's really going to need to do a better job of dealing with.
Yeah, he had the inside on him, and I tell you what, if he just given a little bit more air, that he would have made the catch. He would have had him.
Where's the help, though? Over the top. Royal safeties just playing a little bit tighter to the line to guard against this Buena run game, I think.
Yep, I think you're exactly right. Well, they don't know anything about these receivers. They're all new. So, I mean, do you double cover one guy, or they need to find out who's the go-to guy?
And that's the second drop now for Blake Burnett. Holds his head down, frustrated. Could have had the first down, but it is fourth down. As you can see, Ventura 14, we're getting nothing. Peralta with a 15-yard TD run, 16-0 Moore Park, by the way, in Quartz Hill, and Buena will punt away. Boy, week 10, Buena Ventura possibly for the league title. That should be a sensational game. We only have 11 weeks to go, Derry.
Yep. Is that it? Wow.
I think 11 weeks of time. It is week 10, and we are in week 0 here on the Game of the Week. Bentalivo.
Excellent decision to punt away.
Yeah. And into the end zone. Nice punt by Benevolio, though. He averaged 37 yards a punt. That is a touchback.
Well, Royal has had 2 consecutive positions with negative yardage. They need to get back to what they were doing right the first series.
No question. No question. They've had decent field position, too, on those last 2 drives.
And that first drive, they had a really good, they had like 4 plays where they gained 10 or more yards, but then they had that interception. Oops,
and
offsides.
Another false start penalty. This one against Lucas Toth, the slot man. That's what really started the regression of this offense, if you will, was inside the 10-yard line, first and goal, a false start penalty, and it was first and goal from the 15.
Yep, and then they had a sack and a couple of really good plays by the Buena defense.
Are you ready for this score, Derry? After 1, Bishop Diego 35, Oak Park nothing.
I think Lauren Ledeen picked that Bishop Diego to win the game. You know, Oak Park's replacing a lot of those offensive guys, new head coach.
Moving up, of course, but a lot of changes at Oak Park, and Bishop Diego is easily the favorite in that league. Nordhoff selected second, and, of course, that league now in the Northern Division, which I think is pretty extraordinary. 2nd and 9 after the nice run by Meza. Just frustrating to put together a solid carry like that, and you still have 9 yards to go on 2nd down. Maybe we'll call it 8. Fine, I was exaggerating.
You never exaggerate, Dave. Never.
Never. And you're never sarcastic. 2nd down and 8. Shimbato, easy drop. Overthrown and almost intercepted in the secondary. Moises Vargas made a nice little dive to try and scoop that one up. But alas, 3rd and 8 now.
5 straight incompletions.
Really? Well, he only completed in his solid run at the end of the year. He only completed 54.4% of his passes. So he needs to work on his efficiency. The athleticism is there, but Buena's done a nice job to cover when Shimbato looks to get out of the pocket. 3 wide receivers to this near side. Shimbato will drop. Throws over the middle. That's complete.
Nice
Hanging
pass.
on to the football.
Beautiful throw.
Nice catch from Johnny McGinty, too. He was hit hard by a couple of Bulldogs.
Well, that's the toughest pass, is the catch is right in the middle of the field when you know there's going to be a couple guys to greet you as soon as you catch it.
1st and 10 from the 43. Now, for the Royal Highlanders.
Well, that just may be the thing to kind of get them going again.
They need to reestablish some momentum. So important for Shimbato, who we saw play like an absolute star against Simi.
You know, we really haven't seen much out of River Mesa. That kind of surprises me a little bit.
He hasn't had the ball too many times. I know you have, you know, a running tally of carries in your notes. Maybe 4 times, 5 times has he had the ball?
I've had him with 2.
With 2. Mesa.
They've been throwing.
Yeah, they've been throwing a lot. Mesa a year ago, 180 carries for 1,031 yards. As a sophomore, he had 487 yards. Royal goes on to play Golden Valley. He had 271 yards against Golden Valley last year. Absolutely tore it up. But Shimbato, like we'll hear about so many of these players, had a really solid summer. He's faster. He's stronger. You know, he's a center fielder, starting center fielder on the varsity baseball team as a sophomore.
Yep.
And I think perhaps that's one reason why we've seen less of Mesa is that Coach Fly is happy about the way Shimbato has progressed. He just wants to let him get out and play. Pure speculation, mind you.
But you've got to take some pressure off of him by establishing the run also.
From the pistol, let's see if they establish the run here on 1st and 10. Absolutely. Here's Meza. Little cut back, steps forward, still grinding his feet. And he gets 2 yards. That was a tough 2 yards, though.
Wayne defense continues to play very well.
Yeah, they certainly have impressed. Cade Johnson, the center, making that tackle. One interesting thing is we anticipated Ed De Leon, Jacob Olson, Frank Sandoval as the starting defensive linemen for the Dogs. But ultimately what they've gone and done is bring in Coleman, you know, bring in, obviously on that play, their starting center, Cade Johnson. We didn't anticipate that the Buena offensive lineman would be leading the team in tackles, but that's what we've seen so far. 2nd and 8, Shimbato. Little high and a little short of the first down marker.
Another good catch. Yeah, they'd go up and get it.
Yeah, that time it was Lucas Toth, and you like the athleticism of a few of these targets that he has, Derry. We've seen Ryan Pench on the kick return. Toth go up and get that one. McGinty as well. We've seen his ability on both sides of the ball. So if Shimbato can start to connect with these individual wideouts, then they can really get things up and running.
Well, they need to get him in a position where they can get some yards after the catch. Right now, it's just you catch and you are tackled right away.
3rd and 1, motion man, handoff, Meza, and he's stopped behind the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 1 becomes 4th and 1.5. A big time stop for Buena, and Royal is ready to punt. Now, let me remind you, their punter is Matt Shimbato, their quarterback, and well, you never know what kind of tricks he has up his sleeve. Shimbato back on the field after getting a final instruction. I wonder if they may be willing to take a delay of game penalty as it's taking a minute to get this all together. But Shimbato, quarterback, center fielder, punter. Just a junior. Moves his coverage.
Yep, you're exactly right, Danny.
And they take the delay of game penalty to create a little bit more space. Got a real shootout between San Juan Hills and Thousand Oaks. 20-14, still with 9:47 to go in the 2nd quarter. 7-6 here in a real seesaw battle. Shimbato will punt away, angles it near side. Buena return man says away, takes a nice Royal bounce, and is finally knocked dead at the 18.
It's the first time I've ever heard a 7-6 game as seesaw.
Well, it has been, with the turnovers back and forth, with the momentum change, Royal on the long kick return.
You talk seesaw as scoring.
It's just going back, of course, but this is an emotional seesaw, Derry, which is something that I think one thing you know about me is that I am a deep individual. I look beyond.
You're getting me emotional. I'm starting to cry.
I look beyond the scoreboard, Derry, and I look into the psychological side of the game. And this has been a seesaw battle.
Psychologically. Okay.
Absolutely.
Just to add that word to it.
Mijares dumps that one off.
Another drop. That's 3 straight drops.
And it's the same wide receiver, too, although that throw was really low for Blake Burnett. He's doing a good job getting open. Just hasn't been able to hang on to the ball as he might like. Second and 10 from the 18-yard line. Danny Page alongside the Deuce Dare Eads.
This could be a really big series for the Royal defense if they can kind of hold Mountain Downs and they can kind of get the ball back in good field position for the first time in a while.
When you punt away in a situation like they did, 4th and 1.5 yards on the other side of midfield, on the positive side of midfield, you need to get a stop. That's why you punt away in those situations, because you believe in your D.
Yep.
3rd down and 5. Really important. With 6:55 left in the second quarter. Mijares long drop. Tricky throw to Noah Martinez, and he makes the catch for a big first down. Blanket coverage from Shane Sandvig, but when you have that kind of running back on a linebacker, he'll win 8 or 9 times out of 10. First down, Buena.
Yep.
Press coverage on the near side. Now backing off. It's given to Cookson. Ducks and darts his way for 9, 2nd and 1. So we talked about Meza and Martinez being these stalwart key running backs. They've hardly touched the ball from the tailback position. Four wide now. 2 split to either side. Clear passing situation. Mijares going downfield, has Burnett again, and it's tipped away. What a great defensive play by Ryan Hoffenberg, who stuck with that the whole way, stuck his right arm out, knocked the ball away. Big play, and it's 3rd and short.
The Buena defender got behind, had the room. If he just kind of thrown a little bit further.
A transfer is making news in Ventura County as Derek Holmes Jr. has a 56-yard touchdown catch for Newbury Park. The Panthers lead 14-0. They're going to be very tough to beat this season.
I think they've got to be the favorites for this league.
The Camino League.
Camino League.
3rd and 1. Inside give. Cookson. Well, that's the difference between the two teams right now, isn't it? The control of the line of scrimmage. In key moments like that, Buena has won the line of scrimmage. Royal has been utterly unable to match them in that regard.
Well, it's a young Royal defense. They've got to kind of get their feet wet and see what they can do. This is a big learning experience for them. It's a defense that could get better as the season progresses.
Mijares, inside give. Martinez on the sprint option, although it was more of a sprint draw. I'm not sure there was too much option. Gathers in a couple yards, and it's 2nd and 8 now.
Tell you what, they've made some pretty good plays on this possession. The breakup of the long pass there.
Buena back to Coach Gutierrez. No huddle. Here's Martinez. It's like a bowling ball in some ways. Rolls down the lane for 5 yards. 3rd and 3 as the Dogs look to get to the other side of the midfield stripe with less than 5 minutes to play. I think one strategy here with running the football is Buena would really like to run a lot of time off this clock and still put some points on the board. Royal will receive the football to begin the second half of play here at Simi Valley High School.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't think that's a bad thing for Royal. They would like to keep this game short too.
Here's Martinez. Martinez across the 40, inside the 35 on his feet, down to the 25. Nice run by Noah Martinez to get down to the 20-yard line. And the Dogs have now sped up this would-be scoring drive, haven't they? The big gainer from Noah Martinez. I have it at 30 yards down to the 21.
Big game. Boy, that's what they want from him. So he's pretty good secondary running back to come in there. You get switch those two guys back and forth. Give him some rest.
Well, mind you, he also had that really important catch on third down earlier, and that was no easy play, tiptoed to stay in bounds on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, presented by AAA Travel for all your vacation needs. Head to your local Ventura County Auto Club office in Ventura, Camarillo, TO, or right here in Simi Valley, or visit aaa.com/travel. It's great to have so many people tuning in from around the region, around the country in some cases. A lot going on tonight. 14-0 Westlake out in front of Canyon. That's a good football team. I went out and visited the Warriors ahead of my Marmani League preview for the Ventura County Star. Westlake looks good. Oaks looking to reload as opposed to rebuild. Moore Park's always confident. But boy, that St. Bonaventure team, they're ridiculous. They are stacked.
I think that Westlake St. Bonaventure game would be probably the game of the year.
Might be a good game. Might be a decent one.
It was definitely a great game last year at Santa Barbara City College.
I think it was on October the 24th when it is scheduled for, I want to say.
That was the coming out party for Malik Henry.
Yeah, big night for Malik. That give after the timeout goes for a loss of a yard, whatever Coach Fly adjusted. It was a solid adjustment. Zach Rohner, the senior defensive tackle, making the play. There's a lot of size on this Royal D-line. They need to do a better job up front. They're just really being handled by the crew of Lyle Price, Johnson, Orozco, and, of course, Coleman, whose name we've called a lot. 2nd and 11. Screen pass. This time Burnett hauls it in, and he gets down to
fumble.
The 15, but he loses the football. Could it be Royal ball? That's what the Highlander players are saying. And it is Royal football. Just as Buena is marching down the field from inside their own 20, they give it up at their opponent's 20. That's really a terrible turnover in a lot of ways, Derry.
Wow.
I think Blake Burnett's going to be a really good receiver this year, but he's had a tough day at the office so far.
He really has. Well, he just needs to kind of get some success, and that was a chance for him to really make a big play because he caught the ball and just a really good tackle by the Royal defense.
Motion and thrown back to the motion man. Still free up to the 30-yard line. There's a late penalty flag down. Johnny McGinty with the nice gain in the first down, but this one's coming back, illegal block in the back against Lucas Toth. It was actually on the wide receiver, Toth, and wideouts aren't always meant to do the blocking, are they?
Nope.
.314 remaining as you see. Great work, as always, by Anthony Placencia. Of course, has our clock up and running. Anthony in mid-season form here earlier in the year.
He's always in mid-season form.
That's true.
First down. We need to have him in late-season form.
That's true. That's a great point. First down and 16 means I'm bringing dinner next week. Give Meza, and he is just swallowed up. The first hit came from big Ed De Leon, and there's a late penalty flag as well after the play. Let's see who this goes against.
And it was in the Buena secondary.
We'll either pin Royal inside their own 5 or give Buena a real fit of embarrassment as the Highlanders would have a first down.
Oh.
I didn't see exactly what happened, but either way it goes against Royal. 2nd and about 20 coming up from the 3-yard line once the penalty is assessed. Royal will have to snap the ball from in
4 yard.
between the 3 and the 4, yeah. And they need to get up to the 22-yard line.
It's only 1st and 18.
Running clock, Bishop Diego and Oak Park, 49-0 at the half. 1st and 19. Would have thought it should be 2nd down. Run to the left side, River Meza. Give him 3. And I think at this point, Buena will use a timeout.
Oh, sure.
Why not? All right, we're making our way slowly but surely toward halftime, Derry. Your thoughts so far on this 7-6 slug-it-out battle? Psychologically, it's been a roller coaster. It's been a seesaw.
Seesaw psychological, yeah.
Yep.
I tell you what, it's the big difference in this game has been the Buena defense twice inside the red zone, holding Royal to 2 field goals. I think that's been the big difference.
It's been a massive difference. That's
And
why this game is not 14-7 and why it is 7-6.
And Buena was able to adjust their offense after the first series, did a little bit more running, and kind of made things a lot easier for Minhars, the quarterback, and he's had some success. You know, he was sacked a couple times in that first possession, and none since. Royals made some big mistakes on offense.
Yeah, they really have. Just some missteps, not even mental errors, just a couple of missteps here and there. 2nd and 14. I love your comment about Maharis. He's really just shaking off some early issues. Here's Shimbato trying to do the same. Little comeback route. That's caught.
Nice.
That's a first down for Royal up to the 30. The wide receiver, Ryan Pench, ran a go and then just sort of slowed his roll and came back to make that catch. 1st and 10 from the 30. With the clock continuing to run, mind you, Deuce, now inside of 2 minutes. See what Shimbato can do in this 2-minute setting?
Maybe that wasn't a great timeout after all.
Sometimes it really fires up the opposing team. Shimbato just leaves that one hanging out over the middle. It was anybody but the wide receiver who could have come up with that play, or so it seemed.
Yeah, there's 2 Buena white shirts right there. Had they seen the ball coming, they could have caught it.
At least it stops the clock. 104 seconds remaining in this half. Field goal would be huge for Royal. Remember, they come out and receive the ball to start the second half. 7-6. Blitz coming. Shimbato again downfield.
Oh, boy,
a nice hit. Moises Vargas.
He's limping a little bit.
Yeah, he hits Lucas Toth. They got tangled up a little bit. And Vargas is that sort of head-hunting type safety, but I think he made a really smart play there, Derry, and he led with his shoulder pads. He made sure that this was not going to be a helmet-to-helmet type contact play, that he would keep the wide receiver from making the grab without bringing any bodily harm, if you will. It was a really heads-up play by Vargas. 3rd and 10. Blitz coming again. Shimbato can run this time. Can go wide to his left. Needs a few more for the first down. Has a block downfield. 41-yard line, first down. Clock stops to move the chains. 1:28 left. There's the kid. Now he's out there doing some running. I like to see that. From the 41. Penalty flag down. Pass was completed, but half the players on the field had halted their actions And the penalty goes against Royal, another harmful penalty.
You know, it seems to me that Shimbato is taking a little bit too long to deliver the ball.
To deliver the ball.
To deliver the ball. He needs to be like a half a tick sooner.
Reeds are maybe just a little bit behind for the junior star. 8 touchdowns last year. That one was on time.
Was quick, yep.
Gain up to the 46-yard line for Ryan Pench, who's sort of emerged, at least in the first few minutes of the season here, as Shimbato's go-to target.
When you throw it quick like that, it gives the defense not time to catch up.
Complete, and that'll be oh so close to the first down marker. I'd give him the first down. Ryan Hoffenberg. It may require a measurement. And the referees do give the first down. Clock did stop, though, I believe, as Hoffenberg was hauled out of play. 47.5 seconds left. Plenty of time for Royal here. No timeouts left. Remember, there were some defensive issues earlier, and they were forced to use those timeouts. 1st and 10 from the 49. 3 wide left side. Throwing that way, and that one's hauled in and dropped. Incomplete. And this time it's McGinty that's hit hard. It was Toth just a moment ago, and now McGinty has the ball dislodged. That may have even been a catch and a fumble. I think it was very close.
Yeah. Well, Shimbato's back into a better rhythm. I really like this rhythm now, this last 2 passes.
That one had to hurt a little bit, not just the wideout, but his quarterback, because he knew that was a 30-yard gain that put his team into field goal range. Interesting to hear the oohs and ahs of this home crowd at Royal. Should say home crowd of Royal at Simi. And we have a timeout on the field. Buena taking the break.
Well, I tell you what, Labor Day weekend may have affected this crowd a little bit because it's not quite what you would have thought Buena would be drawing better, I would have thought. And Royal, I think the Royal would have had a better crowd too.
I don't think there's any doubt about that, Derry. We're anticipating just beautiful weather for this holiday weekend. A lot of people will say to themselves, I can go to next week's game.
Yeah.
You know, they will look ahead to an upcoming contest. Well, I think there's one scenario that you didn't bring up, and that's the obvious one. Everyone's just at home watching us on the VCS Preps Game of the Week.
That could be. They just want to listen to you.
Absolutely. You couldn't be more right. Mr. Video and the typewriter here with you.
Pencil pusher.
I kind of like the typewriter one. Royal will be back home, though, not for 3 weeks when they welcome in Channel Islands. They head to Golden Valley, and then after the CI game, right here, they have a long trip to Santa Barbara. They play Moore Park on October 3rd in a non-league game, mind you. On second down, Shimbato. Going to go deep again. This could be picked. Vargas was tracking that one down, incomplete, and a late penalty flag, 2 late flags. This is going apparently against a Buena player.
Ooh, big mistake.
Oh, I wouldn't want to look at Coach Gutierrez heading into halftime. He is a serious man, I will tell you that much, and he is a very good football coach. And it's actually against Royal, pardon me, and Buena, corresponding personal fouls. That's when we get all excited. It was after the play, so.
Well, it's offsetting penalties.
Exactly. The play, though, will stand because it was a dead ball personal foul given to either team. McGinty back in the game. He's on the far side. Ryan Pench near. Shimbato.
Offsides.
Another penalty for Royal. Is it offsides or false start?
Well.
False start against Royal. Again, Buena really has been, for the most part, penalty flag free.
Yeah, I think they've had a couple. That's been about it.
3rd and 15 now. Royal was almost in a very different situation. If not for that big hit in the secondary. It would have been inside the 20-yard line about 10, 12 seconds ago on the game clock. Downfield again for Pench, and it's just too high. Handy catch on the sideline, though, by Coach Fly. Royal, we would anticipate, Deuce would punt. Buena, you would think, will take a knee, and we'll probably go to halftime at 7-6.
Hey, Royals got to be feeling pretty good. Not that they're down 7-6, but they're down by only 7-6 because they haven't played their best football, I would think.
Well, especially not inside the 10-yard line.
Not inside the 10, and they've made some mistakes, some penalties, some turnovers. So, I mean, if they just kind of clean things up a little bit,
they could get back in control. Yeah. Martinez says away. The football trickles down to the 13-yard line, and that is just about how we will head to halftime, I would imagine. I don't see Coach Gutierrez taking too many chances to close this thing out, Mr. Eads.
The Royals defense has made some really big plays, especially on some good third downs.
They have. I thought they would be a little bit stronger on the line of scrimmage, frankly. But you were saying? They played a lot better?
They've played a lot better this quarter, especially.
I agree. And they played a lot better than they did against Simi Valley last time we were here. Inside handoff to the 17-yard line, and that will bring to a close the first half of the first game in the 0 week of the 2014 prep football season on the VCS Preps Game of the Week, presented by AAA Travel. My name is Danny Page. With me, the Deuce, Derry, Eads, Kevin Fly, calling his team over for a little chat as we head to the half. Opportunistic Buena leads a solid Royal 7-6 at halftime break, and we'll be back with the conclusion of this contest in a dozen minutes' time. Bob Jacobs Stadium at Simi Valley High School in Simi Valley, California. The VCS Preps Game of the Week, season number 4. My name is Danny Page. With me, the Deuce, Derry Eads, as the Buena Bulldogs take the field and the Royal Highlanders prepared to Derry. Neither team can be entirely thrilled with their performance in the opening half. That's not to say it was poor by any means, but that said, the game is wide open. Anyone can walk away 1-0 tonight.
Yeah, Buena's got to be happy because they lost 2 series, ended with fumbles. One which they were inside the red zone. And Royal had 2 drives inside the red zone where they only got field goals. They gained no yardage on those 2 series.
Inside the 10, not just inside the red zone even.
Well, you know, the one where they started inside the 10, but the penalty started it off to where they were actually on the 15. So anyway, they got only 2 field goals out of it. Royal quarterback Shambada struggled. First half, one stretch going 7 straight incompletions. And they need to, it is vital for them to have him get some success early in this third quarter, get him going if they are to have a chance to really move this season. He is the key of their whole team, I think.
There's no question, but they're big, strong, 200-pound plus, 300-pound benching, 1,000-yard rusher, Derry. River Mesa just hasn't been involved in the game really at all whatsoever.
No, he hasn't. I mean, they've been throwing the ball, and they've got to get both those guys involved in the offense. You know, at least dump some passes off to Mesa and get him with the ball to where, leading him to where he can get some yards after the catch.
Well, they'll get their opportunity right now. They're going to start with the football, Royal. They deferred. Buena took over to start the game. Royal should have the ball, barring any special teams hijinks, to start this second half. Remember the last kick they returned, they took down inside the 5-yard line.
And Buena made a great tackle to save it, and that kept Royal to just a field goal. That may have been the play of the game at this stage.
Bentivolio kicks away, and it will be kicked short by Buena. The ball is loose, and ultimately falling on the ball is the return man Pench. That could have been dangerous. And Royal will start with modest field position from the 21-yard line. First down and 10 for the Highlanders.
They had an up man who left a little bit too soon. The ball bounced to where he was originally.
He just sort of vacated the premises and thought, I don't need
he's looking to block somebody.
I don't need to get this. First down and 10 for the Highlanders. Matt Shimbato, tough first half for the kid. He really closed 2013 well in his last 5 games. Completed 54% of his passes, and he'll try to complete his first pass here. And absolutely rocked is the wideout coming out of the backfield.
Flag.
Johnny McGinty, and I think that personal foul will go against Buena on the hit. It's a fair call. Just vicious contact there, 15-yard penalty, and a first down for Royal. This Buena defense has really been hitting. We haven't seen a Buena defense hit like this for a long time.
I tell you what, they've really played well.
We have 15-yard penalty.
I want to go back to, maybe 2009, I want to say, with Tyler Perry and Buena at that stage that really gave St. Bonaventure one of the toughest games they ever had in the Channel League. That was the last time I can remember a Buena defense with the type of toughness that we're seeing here tonight. Shimbato will keep, trying to stretch it to his left and find an option, and scoots down after a 3-yard gain. Still no River Mesa. I thought maybe they'd come out, the Highlanders, and start the second half running the football. Apparently not so.
It'll bring up 2nd
I'm surprised.
Meza, of course, has rushed for more than 1,500 yards in his career, a 1,000-yard year last year. He went over 170 yards 3 times last season. He's a quiet young man in some ways. He really leads by example. Shimbado will throw again. Downfield, nice grab. Reaching out for it this time is Dylan Reynolds, who had the first catch of the game, has his second of the game, just 6 grabs last year, and a long completion, 1st and 10 Royal at the 40.
He was just 7 of 20 for 89 yards in the first half, so to get a completion like that's got to kind of maybe settle him down a little bit. Oops.
Oh,
another penalty.
Hench was 15 yards downfield on that false start. This is the VCS Preps Game of the Week, brought to you, of course, by the Ventura County Star. If you like being in the know, subscribe to the Ventura County Star and discover what's happening in your neighborhood at a price less than your daily cup of coffee. You could be informed and stay in the know. Sign up today at vcstar.com. I just have to say for a moment how special it is for me to start this 4th season doing these games. I remember being a little kid reading the Star Free Press in the morning, the updates of high school football games the night before, some of the first things I'd pick up reading as a young man, and now here we are doing the games on television, if you will, bringing this stream and the digital department, such hard work to get things up and running smoothly, unlike the Royal passing game, at least on that play.
Well, I mean, there's something that the Buena defense is doing to take away something from the Royal passing game. It's just not only the quarterback. Let's give some credit to the defense for making some adjustments.
Moises Vargas, number 1. He is a player.
Yep.
Really came out of nowhere in my eyes. Here's Shimbado, throws that over the head of Johnny McGinty. He's very streaky. He's very momentum-based, isn't he, Shimbado?
Yep.
And he finds a rhythm, and then he loses that rhythm, and he just has lost it for a second here. A lot of the times he's lost that rhythm, it's been because of these penalties. It's been because his team is backed up with 15 yards to go instead of the standard 10.
You know, it's almost like they're treating Meza as a decoy. They faked the handoff to him that time, and he had open spaces like Buena's not looking for him to do anything.
Shimbado throws across his body. Tremendous athlete, but not the best throw. Skipped on the turf in front of McGinty, and Royal will be forced to punt. There's that Buena D again, making plays.
They're just mixing things up really well in the secondary and causing some confusion. He kind of hurries the ball a little bit.
Shimbado will start closer to the line in a shotgun. And now heads back to punt this away.
Ooh.
Some pressure.
Uh-oh,
He was
flag.
forced to hit it off the side of his foot, and you're right, Derry. Will it be roughing the kicker or running into the kicker? I see it as roughing the kicker. Yep, personal foul, 15-yard penalty for roughing the kicker. First down, Royal. Wow.
Well, that is a huge play.
Huge.
And it wasn't like Shimbado was faking it. That was a blitz by the defense. They were trying to block that punt.
They got relatively close. The Royal students, who we just heard, we heard a cheer we'll only hear another 9,000 times, and that's I believe that we will win. Made rather famous, I would say, by the U.S. soccer team in the summer. Here's Shimbado to throw. Jumping that route is the corner on that side. It's actually Cameron Carroll coming up from the strong safety position, the 6'3", 173-pound senior. And
boy,
he's been a handful.
He nearly picked that one off. Great athletic move.
He saw that route unfolding before the
Yep.
Wide out did. I was surprised there again to see Royal not go to the run on first down.
Oh.
They've thrown, if I'm not mistaken, every time out to start this half.
Whoops.
Fumble, ball's on the ground, still is, and it
Buena,
looks like the
Buena.
Dogs have it.
Buena has it.
Big play for Buena as
Josh
they
Cookson.
come up with the football. Thank you, Derry.
Josh Cookson.
1st and 10 for Buena from the 32-yard line. Shimbato just couldn't handle it. A big break for Royal on the 15-yard roughing penalty, and they hand it right back to the Bulldogs.
You know, these were both of these teams did not have very many mistakes last year. And all of a sudden, they both had 2 turnovers already.
Little inside handoff, and here goes Cookson across the 40 to the 45, now beyond midfield. And Cookson with a nice little gain, to say the least. And Buena is in business, Deuce.
20-yard gain on the play. Here's up to the play, first down.
Coach Gutierrez running the no huddle. Look at how nonchalant he is when he sends in his plays. It really is indicative of a college-style general head coach. He's expects a lot from his players, but he puts so much into the game himself. Fakes the give to Martinez. Mijares forced out of the pocket, throwing downfield across his body. It's caught inside the 10 to the 5 and into the end zone.
Touchdown.
He's made a couple errors on the night, but he's made a couple huge plays. Blake Burnett, ready for his senior portrait, takes that one to the house 14-6.
Boy, that was a big scramble to his left and drew everybody in and able to find that receiver downfield. That's a tough pass to throw. You're running to your left.
That PAT fumbled along the turf by Mijares, and that's a rather important miss PAT, Derry.
Yep.
13-6 now, and Royal would not be forced to go for 2 unless they wanted to, which we saw him do in the game against rival Simi Valley. And now it is 13-6 in favor of the Buena Bulldogs. What a big play. Blake Burnett has been sort of the buzz player of this game, hasn't he? He's, dropped a couple passes. He fumbled it, but he has these 2 big touchdowns. He's the only player to get in the end zone tonight.
Yep. He kept going. He's a big target, and Mijares able to find him.
Well, it is 13-6. Buena has just scored yet again. A lot of games underway throughout the area. There's one going on in Bakersfield, too, and we would like to bring in our good buddy, of course, the one and only Joe Curley. Joe, how are things up in Baco as Oaks Christian gets prepared to take on the Division I state champions?
Hot. I'll give you 3 letters, H-O-T. It's about 95 degrees up here at the top of Memorial Stadium, even with the nice breeze. So it's going to be a long, hot night here in Bakersfield.
How is Oaks Christian, Joe, as Royal charges that kickoff out of bounds? As we're talking to Joe Curley live from Bakersfield at the moment. Joe, how is Oaks Christian dealing with this late kickoff? It is a little bit of a change for them, and of course they have a lot of new players to trot out tonight. Probably an uneasy feeling going into this game.
Yeah, I think you just leave later. I know they left school at about 1 o'clock, 1:30. Got here about 4 o'clock. They had dinner at a fine, we call it a nationwide type establishment. And they've just been resting and watching this first game between Ridgecrest and Frontier, which is just actually wrapping up now. Right now, Oaks Christian's actually in the far end zone, mulling around, waiting to take the field.
Right, they're ready to go.
Yeah, this thing's about to, we're probably, oh, wow, they put 30 minutes on the clock. We're not going to start till after 9 o'clock here in Bakersfield, but they'll be nice and ready to go. I know it's been a long day, but kind of interesting being a night camp. Everybody else will be done, and And
You'll just be starting. Here's River Mesa up to the 35-40, and Mesa with a nice carry beyond the 42-yard line. Joe, I think it's safe to say that all of us football nuts in Ventura County, as soon as we get home after our respective games, we will be glued to Twitter following VCS preps to find out what happens with Oaks Christian. We appreciate you joining us. We look forward to talking to you each week throughout the season. Joe Curley.
No problem, guys.
Big thanks to Joe, and sort of a new added dimension on the broadcasts here as we'll be communicating with our writers throughout the area.
Ooh.
Another massive hit and
Flag.
another penalty flag. The Buena player shakes his head. That's Anthony Castillo. And at that point, just went out and made a tackle. But with that penalty, and a nice throw by Shimbato, mind you.
Yep.
Royal offense is really finding rhythm with Joe on the phone. We're going to have to call him back. I think Coach Fly is going to want him on this entire time. 1st and 10 now, down to about the 34-yard line.
But, you know, it was a good pass, but it's another situation where the Royal receiver had no chance of getting any yards after the catch.
Well, I think one thing Shimbato needs to do, and one reason why the receivers are being left out to dry a little, passes need more zip on them. The defensive backs have too much time to see where the ball is going. They're there to make the play, provide a big hit.
Well, he needs to throw the ball sooner. You know, when you kind of hold on to the ball a little bit, the defense has a chance to react to what the offense is doing.
Hard at work for the Ventura County Star down there. Good old Lauren Ledeen. He is in the huddle. He's roaming the sidelines. It doesn't get any better than that. There's a great shot of Lauren in the chat room, by the way.
He's tweeting.
He's tweeting. Yep, Lauren's tweeting. Take a look at that photo of him hard at work, too, that was just posted in our chat room. This is the type of interactivity we love from you guys. If you're out at a game, if you have photos from these games, post them in the room. And we love your comments, questions, concerns, or fan mail for Derry. That goes over the hands of Dylan Reynolds. 2nd and 10 now, forthcoming from the 34-yard line. Why not give the ball to Mesa on 1st down?
Hey, it worked the last series.
Absolutely.
They did 2 plays in a row and gained a total of 15 yards.
Absolutely.
They're just kind of, hey, we're going to throw the ball 50 times this game.
I'm a run-first type of guy, too. I like to see that, especially on 1st down. Get a few yards. Nothing wrong with that. Shimbato keeps it, fakes the throw, eventually is sacked. And now it's 3rd and 13.
Yep.
Thrown the ball twice. And Royal is in a hole.
Well, I mean, he's 9 of 27. So you would think, hey, maybe we got to go to plan B.
That is a lot of pass attempts for a low-scoring game. If you go 3 touchdowns down, then you're throwing the ball 30 times. I understand that. But in a 13-6 game.
And you have a 1,000-yard rusher in your backfield.
Now forced to throw. Shimbato, room to run across his body, and it's caught. Really nice job for Pench to haul that one in, Deuce. The ball was just laid out in front, and I saw the defensive player come in from the backside, Carroll. I thought unquestionably Carroll was going to be able to strip that away and force the incompletion, but a really nice play from Pench, and he's another solid target for Shimbato, although he was kind of dinged up in the back of the leg. He has to come off the field now.
Well, for the 3rd time, Royals in the Buena red zone. See where they do something here.
Here's Mesa, stretching left side. Nice cut back on the block. Still on his feet, River Mesa. It's the 3rd time for Royal now inside the 10. At the moment, they only have 6 points. They have to capitalize here and score a touchdown just for the psychological edge.
You're really into the psychological.
Absolutely. It's all about mind games. Derry, I have to add, Ryan Pench is down on the sideline. They're looking at his leg, hopefully just a cramp. But Lucas Toth, another key target for Shimbato, was hit hard. He looks to be done for the night. Going back to River. And River is stuffed. Pushed upstream. 3rd and 2 now. Nearing the halfway mark of this third quarter. Shimbato, he's a really talented player. He's a great quarterback, but he just can't leave his wide receivers hanging out to dry, so to speak.
Yeah.
With Pench taking a little knock there, and Toth apparently done for the night. Not going to have many wide receiver targets left. 3rd and less than 2. I like that group, though. McGinty, Toth, Pench, they're tall and athletic. It's nice to have a few young targets, a few targets when you're a young quarterback, I should say.
Except they've been targets of defensive backs.
Shimbato
Wow, they read
sacked
that
all the way. The all-league man and the all-county candidate, Coleman, with the big play. 4th down, and Royal will be forced to kick a field goal. Their 3rd time inside the 10-yard line, and they may only come away with 9 points.
Well.
Here's Omar Cabanas' chance. Time not necessarily becoming a factor yet, but the way Buena's been able to run the football, this could be a quick conclusion to this contest. Barely gets the snap down, easily gets the kick through. 13-9. The Buena Bulldogs lead the Royal Highlanders. Opportunity missed. Yet again, you have to say.
Yep. Boy, and hey, credit the Buena defense again. They're making all the big plays inside the red zone.
And I think
there's like 4 plays they've held them to negative yardage.
And if you can't be a defense that's dominant across the board, be a bend but don't break. You know, in the years that I was at USC and a broadcaster for USC, that was Pete Carroll's philosophy. Is we will bend, we'll let them inside the 20-yard line, but we will not break. We won't let them inside the end zone. And Buena's defense inside the 10-yard line, if you look at the number of plays Royal has had inside the 10, which is about 5 or 6, nearly all have gone.
9 plays.
Well, they did take the false start penalty, so they didn't get to actually you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
But you know, a half dozen or so. Basically, all that I can think of went for 0 or negative yardage.
Yep.
The VCS Preps Game of the Week brought to you by AAA Travel. For all your vacation needs, visit your local Ventura County Auto Club office in Ventura, Camarillo, Thousand Oaks, or Simi Valley. Visit aaa.com/travel. Great to have AAA Travel on board presenting these games. Oxnard 21, Santa Barbara nothing. Solid from the Jackets. Bulldogs taking this one out. Taking it out to the 24-yard line. I like the progression we've seen from Martin Maharis. He, in his last 5 games, last season, not including the 31-0 loss to Ventura, completed 75% of his passes for 144 yards, 7 touchdowns, 3 picks. That includes the game against Gardena Serra, one of the state's best. Struggled against Newbury Park to start the year. Struggled against Ventura, 5 for 14 for 45 yards. But he seems to be picking up where he's left off in a lot of ways. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. I really like the young man. Buena's kind of had some trouble early in the season the last few years. The openers have not been their best.
Especially when we're there. I think we've opened with Buena 3 times in 4 years, and they lost the first 2. Lost to Newbury Park 22-3 last year. That's why Buena is here, Deuce. That's why they're playing Royal, is they wanted to get out of that rhythm of playing to Newbury Park and unfortunately losing to Newbury Park. The defense holding it together as Mijares, Martinez, and Cookson find their feet. Mijares directly finds his feet and slides down at the 30-yard line. It's definitely a growing process for this Buena team, though, as they look to build on what they did last season. They won 7 of 8 games at one point, with the only loss 31-0, albeit to their bitter rivals, before losing to Serra. I don't even count the Gardena-Serra game as a game because the assortment of athletes is absolutely insane. Mijares flushed, he's still on his feet, completes the pass. No,
drop.
It's dropped by Blake Burnett. Blake Burnett would be up for County Offensive Player of the Night if he had made those catches. His 2 touchdowns have been just short of spectacular. Solid, to say the least.
But he's dropped, what, 3 or 4?
4.
4.
And a fumble. Poor kid. But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I think he's a really quality player. And
Well, that's why they keep going back to him, because they know he's got some talent. He can make things happen.
Buena still need to establish some weapons in the passing game outside of him. Bendevolio punts away. Pench can't find it. Takes a high bounce off the turf. Inside the 30. Boy, that's a nice bounce for Buena. Down at the 24-yard line.
46-yard punt.
Great punt from Bendevolio. He's a good kicker. And the problem last year for Bendevolio, and we would have gotten to this if he had attempted a field goal, is obviously his field goal kicking. He was 2 of 10 a season ago, but being an underclass kicker is difficult. You have to build your confidence over time. And we'll see what Bendevolio can do. That was really a nice punt, 46 yards. So Shimbato back to work. Meza behind him.
Let's see some running. Nope.
Not going to happen. Nice little out route and a nice completion to Dylan Reynolds, who's growing in confidence as a wide receiver. I think this is a good way for Buena to start the season against Royal, even if it is at Simi Valley. And then Buena with a 3-game homestand coming up. They actually play Simi Valley next, which I believe you mentioned earlier, and then Saugus and Oxnard before going to Pacifica, Rio Mesa, Dos Pueblos, all in a row. The Bulldogs close with a home game against Ventura, which you'll see live as part of our coverage, VCS Preps Game of the Week. Complete to Reynolds. Again, he's caught 3 passes in the second half, and he picks up 5 there. And I know that our schedule can change, but I'm calling it. November 7th, we'll be carrying Ventura Buena for the Channel League Championship. There you have it.
It could be.
Will be.
Will be.
Pacifica is leading Dos Pueblos, mind you, 20-14 in the 4th quarter. Little flip to McGinty. End around, left side.
It's a little high flip.
It was a little bit up there. He's a wide receiver. He can haul it in. McGinty gets not much more than a yard despite running about 40. 3rd and 5. One other thing the Buena defense has done well is in situations like this, Kevin Fly's offensive staff likes to give Shimbato a run-pass option. They've guarded that well, and I'm not sure if they've directed a quarterback spy towards Shimbato on 3rd down. Let's have a closer look here. Here he goes, trying to run, pump fake, cuts up the middle, and rolls forward for a big 1st down. Up to the 48, 1st and 10 Royal. Although, need we remind our viewers, Derry, that a field goal will not give Royal the lead here. They need 6 points. 14 minutes on the dot left to play in this contest.
Well, they moved the ball well. Their opening possession of this quarter.
And
things were looking pretty good.
Well,
maybe that's why they're throwing it.
Throwing it on 1st down. Yeah, Meza just stacked up. If there's been a surprise to me, it's been the Buena defensive line and secondary. And boy, those 2 units have been really outstanding. And we have to credit the linebackers, too. It's been a comprehensive defensive performance. But Buena have been winning the battle up front on both sides of the ball. Low snap, it's still loose. Shimbato picks it up. Continues on his feet. Loses 3 yards. And now another 3rd and 15 situation.
Loss of 4 yards on the play.
Quite frustrating. Newbury Park's up 42-0,
Ball now spotted at the
by the way.
3-yard line.
Third and 15. They do bring 3 wide receivers near side. Shimbato, excuse me, over the middle, and it's incomplete. Nearly caught by McGinty, and now McGinty's down as he was hit hard too. So all 3 wide receiver targets, Derry, have been down at one point or another. For Royal, I suppose Dylan Reynolds, who's emerged as the 4th.
Oh, he's hurt.
He is. That looked like a tough hit, Deuce, because he had one defensive player sort of taking out his legs and another hitting his upper body.
Boy, we've seen that like throughout the whole game, is that these receivers for Royal just get hammered in the secondary.
They are taking a lot of hard hits. No doubt about it. Well, we certainly hope that Johnny McGinty's all right. He's a junior, has emerged as a quality player. Good news is Johnny's up. To use an old school phrase, I think he got his bell rung a little bit. Glad Johnny's able to walk off. Strong kid.
Well, if they deem that a concussion, that's probably it for him for the game, huh?
Yeah, that would be it for him for the game. If you look down away to our left, Lucas Toth is, number 7, is sitting at the trainer's table with his full pads and uniform on. Looks like he's functioning in a decent manner, but he's not going back on the field. You wonder if it could be something similar.
I think it's like a knee or something.
Oh, you do?
I think so.
Well, when there are more serious injuries, though, frequently they, player would go to the hospital or something like that. So it's good to see he's at least stayed in the building.
I think they're going to take off his shirt.
Shimbato. Nice punt inside the 20. And with 16 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, Buena doesn't start with the best field position. Simi Valley is crawling back into their game against Saugus. 37-34 they trail. Pinkston with a pair of touchdown passes in the 3rd quarter, says John Catalini.
Boy, he's a good one.
Big thanks to the crew running this chat room. Not as much interactivity tonight, guys. Fewer questions. Let's hear from you. What are your thoughts on this game? Yard. And that will end the 3rd quarter. Terry Eads. And I would say the 3rd quarter was a lot like the first 2 in a lot of ways. I think that Royal made some strides offensively, but ultimately the Buena Bulldogs were able to get in the end zone yet again, and that's why it's 13-9 at the end of the 3rd.
Yeah, they keep coming up with the one big play here and there that I don't think they've played as well as they did in the first half. Maybe Royals made some adjustments. I don't know.
Some work to do for Shimbato and Royal. I saw you pointing down to the trainer table.
Toth, they've taken off his jersey and shoulder pads.
So he's done for the night. And you're right, they are looking at his right leg, sort of.
Yeah, he's
Hope
got
that young man's okay.
ice underneath his right knee.
Toth, a two-way player, Lucas Toth, the 6', 170-pound senior.
Well, he's one of 4 guys who are going both ways for Royal.
Ventura 28, Rigetti 17 going to the 4th quarter. Cougars trying to shake off some controversy. As we start the fourth quarter of this contest. Could this be a game possibly where the teams go back and forth a bit, Deuce, where they really battle out a high-scoring fourth quarter? Sometimes you see that, you know, low-scoring.
I'm almost kind of looking for a big defensive play for a return for touchdown or a kick return or something.
Interesting. Here's Maharis rolling right. Throws the ball, and that one's dropped. Penalty flags down, Darian. I want to say it is because he threw the ball beyond the line of scrimmage,
right,
which is normally 5 yards and a loss of down. I'm a little rusty.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He was beyond the 20.
Definitely. And the 19 is the line of scrimmage. It's worth a go.
Yeah.
You can hear the Royals students. They're still retaining faith, and their school is right in this game. You're right. It's not going to be Buena zips down the field for a touchdown, then Royal does, and Buena responds. There's going to be one play, I think, in this final period that decides the entire game and decides who starts the season with positive vibes, good vibes, positive emotions, strong psychological edge.
I'm getting kind of sick of the psychological.
That's what I'm trying to do.
You trying to make me sick?
Yep.
Well, you succeeded.
Too wide, near side. Martinez, the slot man. Mijares sprints out on 3rd and 15 after the 5-yard penalty. Assessing his options. Pressured, still on his feet. Little room to throw. And I believe that wide receiver on the near side had a foot in and made a huge catch for a Buena first down. Mijares did his best Shimbato impersonation and danced and darted around till he found a man open, and that's a big, big first down for the Buena Bulldogs. It's Connor MacArthur, who had just 8 catches a year ago, makes a huge grab in this one, Derry.
Mijares is now 9 of 17 for 163 yards.
9 completions for 163 yards. That's a really important statistic. Toss left side, Cookson. Cookson 45. Cookson beyond the 50. Cookson with blockers still in front, and he's finally taken down from behind by Matt Sanders at the 41. First down, Buena. And maybe that big play that we were looking for was even a 3rd down completion.
Yep. Boy, if they can get in the end zone here, it's going to be pretty much ball game, don't you think?
I can never count out this Royal team after what we saw last year. Shovel pass. Martinez this time beyond the 30. Martinez rolls his way down to the 22-yard line. Spotted at the 23. And the clock stops for the Bulldogs. Another big gain. And this team was getting ready to punt from deep in their own end zone. Now it's 1st and 10 at the Royal 23. If I'm not mistaken, Buena has not had the ball inside the Royal red zone yet.
Nope, they haven't.
Cookson. Finally, Buena will run one play from inside Royal's 20-yard line. That's the difference in this game. Royal has run a half dozen or so plays from inside Buena's 20, and they've only come away with 3 field goals, whereas Buena's set to run their first play inside the 20, and they've scored 2 touchdowns. They lead 13-9. That is the game in a sentence.
They've had the 2 big pass plays for 34 and 48 yards.
Here's Cookson. Can he make a big play? Turned back by Matt Sanders. 3rd and 3.
After a gain of 1. We'll bring up 3rd down and 3. Ball spotted at the 6.
Don't forget to join us next week. Oak Park taking a tough loss tonight, but they'll look to bounce back against Nordhoff as we see the defending Northwest Division champions. Nordhoff at Oak Park is our game of the week coming up next Friday, September 5th. Now Buena jumps off sides, and maybe the red zone's cursed for everyone on the night, Derry.
Could be.
against Buena.
No one wants to just punch it in.
Third and 8.
On 3rd and 8, Buena does something resembling a huddle, takes the sign from Coach Gutierrez, who doesn't wear a headset, by the way. Does wear a sweater vest. Well done, Coach. Connor MacArthur, who caught that big 3rd down pass, is just off the line of scrimmage on the far side. Handoff to Martinez on a little short end around. He's beyond the 10. He's beyond the pylon. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Buena. 3rd down and 8. Noah Martinez scoots his way through a couple of nice blocks and in for 6. With 9:06 left, it's 19-9, Buena Bulldogs.
But I tell you what, they've got a really good running back tandem going. I think they're probably the goals to get those guys combined like 40, 45 touches a game. It's a great 1-2 punch. Both guys can run inside and can run outside.
Unsportsmanlike conduct called against Buena after the touchdown. And I would imagine this will be assessed on the kickoff. You know, where that missed PAT earlier comes into play, Derry, is this would be a 2-touchdown game. At 21-9, this PAT will make it a touchdown, field goal, and 2-point conversion game. And that's blasted through. That makes a big difference in a game, though, does it not? 20-9 is just an 11-point advantage. 21-9 means your opponent needs 2 touchdowns. Royals still around. Not going anywhere. Just about, I can't believe how late that game is kicking off. Oaks Christian and Bakersfield. Remember,
well, that game won't make it into the Saturday paper.
It's always where you are. I knew that was what you were going to say. It is not going to make it.
I hate those doubleheaders.
Oh, man, Mr. Deadline over here.
Hey.
Did you ever miss a deadline?
No.
Once, not once. Maybe once.
Not that I can remember.
You never did some like triple, quadruple overtime game?
I've had double overtime, but you know a lot of those games they're like they start at 7.
You still have time to get it in.
And regulation ends about 9:15, and
you can tie it all up by 10:30.
Yep.
Well, make sure to pick up your copy tomorrow of the Ventura County Star, or check out what happened in the Oaks Christian game on vcstar.com, because it's your local news site. Nowhere else can you find the most comprehensive and up-to-date news, sports, entertainment, and it's all about what's happening in your city and your neighborhood. vcstar.com today. Head there. It's where I go for news. It's where Derry goes for news. It's where Ventura County goes for news. It's where Anthony Placencia goes for news. He works there.
Hey, I'll be on the website when I get home.
Yeah, no,
checking on all the stories that the Star puts out. See what the tweets were like.
You want to throw out your Twitter handle, Derry, for people to follow?
At Derry Eves.
Okay. Little discussion here after the kickoff went out of play. Coach Fly might want Buena to kick again. I think so. I think they're going to force Buena back out.
No, they're going to take the ball on the 50 because there's that penalty.
Ah, yes.
Ball will be placed right at midfield.
Well, they need to strike here pretty quick because Buena's been able to move the ball offensively, so you're going to need to get a touchdown here pretty quick.
Especially in the run game.
Yep.
Buena has been able to of late. Here's Shimbato across midfield. Picks up 2 or 3. Just can't find the proper target and can't find time to make a play.
Gains 2 yards on the play. second down and 8. Ball spotted at the 48.
I see Anthony Placencia reaching for his VCS Preps jacket. It must be that time of year, huh? Although it is August. That's one of the fun things about the prep football season is seeing the weather and the seasons change as much as we can here in Ventura County.
Oh, what a nice defensive play.
Great job to jump that route. Anthony Castillo, the safety, and now a late penalty flag. The only mistakes Buena has made in this game really have been these mental errors, these late penalties.
They get a little bit too physical. They come in with a physical mindset of really, hitting hard, and they just kind of go over the line.
And I think they're really fired up at the way they're playing in some facets of the game, too.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
That's their second. You give Royal those 30 yards in a situation when you can close the game out. Stemming from, obviously, the kickoff, the unsportsmanlike conduct after the touchdown, and this, they have handed Royal 30 yards. Royal would be all the way back, inside their own 40, and instead they're just 33 yards away from making this a game again, 8:23 to play.
This is kind of where you need to kind of maybe call a timeout and just talk to your players. Hey,
on the Buena side of the football,
yeah,
you're saying.
Settle down. Settle down. We've got this game under control. Let's don't give them the opportunities to get back in the game.
I think that's what the ref just did, called a timeout and told him to settle down. Here's Shimbato throwing downfield, and it's just beyond Dylan Reynolds. He's just missing a couple of the key throws, the kid. He can emerge. He was part of that class of 2016 of ultra-talented quarterbacks throughout the county. Obviously, Malik Henry, he's having a nice night as I understand it.
The kid from Camarillo.
Jake Constantine had 3 first-half touchdown passes this evening against Rio Mesa as Camarillo was out to a 24-7 lead. Obviously, the young backup at St. Bonaventure who will be playing at wideout behind Ricky Town. Here's River Mesa on the run, needs to pick up another block, and the gang tackling from this group of pointed defenders. One player's there, and as soon as Mesa is able to use his brute strength and break free, someone else is there to clean up the mess.
Yeah. They need to do some counter plays. They've got Buena is really pursuing very heavily to one side. So what you need to do is have a little counter play and come back the opposite side.
Well said, Coach. I like it.
That was the play where, like, when Maharis threw that long touchdown, they had Royal going to one side, and he came around.
Shimbato throws that one over the head of the intended target, Pench.
Boy, that was close to being beyond the line of scrimmage.
I thought it might have been. And now for Royal, 4th down and 10 from the 33-yard line.
I think you got to go for it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 7:27 remaining in this fourth quarter of play. Danny Page and Derry Eads here with you on the VCS Preps Game of the Week presented by AAA Travel.
Oops. One guy, I wasn't sure whether he was supposed to be on the field or not.
He is supposed to be on the field, and Royal is forced to take a timeout. That's really disappointing. Royal is going to need those timeouts, Deuce.
Yep, he was the 11th guy.
So for Buena, Simi Valley coming up next. That's at home, then Saugus at home, then Oxnard at home. That Buena-Oxnard game is looking like a good one.
Yep.
After Oxnard, at least as I last heard, really handled Santa Barbara tonight. Santa Barbara had a good team last year, too.
Well, according to Bob Atita, Oxnard's the favorite to win the Pacific View League title.
Mark Beckham would be great for him to be back on top.
Pacifica looks like they've got a pretty good team, too.
They held on to beat Dos Pueblos tonight, 20-14.
They got that Hueneme transfer quarterback who's thrown for over 4,000 yards in his career. He's going to be a Eden if I remember correctly.
That's correct.
He's going to be a big factor for them.
Pacifica holding on for that 2014 win. DeAndre Vines had 2 touchdowns and nearly 200 yards receiving. One comment from JT Wright 82 says, huge win by the Agora boys, hey? Absolutely. On 4th down, complete, but it might be just short of the first down. It is. It's a yard short. First down for Buena. The Bulldogs hold as they've done all night. And Royal again, I think that's sort of indicative of their offensive performance, isn't it? Coming up just a yard short.
Well, consistently, time after time, the passes are completed, and there's no chance to make any yards after the catch.
That's been a huge storyline tonight. And is that because of something Royal's doing, Derry, or is it more because of what Buena's doing defensively?
Well, I think it's what Buena's doing defensively, but hey, you have to gain 10. You need to throw it to 10 yards. You can't throw a 5-yard pass on 4th down.
First down and 10. Throwing Buena, and that's complete to Burnett. And as the clock starts to run, one of our favorite viewers, Zoltan. Great name, by the way. Isn't that the machine in the movie Big? Or that's Zoltar, I think. He says, Danny, are you doing any Time Warner work this year? Unfortunately, my former program, Varsity Roundup, is no longer on Time Warner. Perhaps doing some of the state championships later on for the company. We shall see. But tomorrow I'll make my debut as a pregame host for USC and a postgame host inside the stadium. So if you're at the Coliseum tomorrow, I'll be on the vision board for an hour leading to kickoff. What a throw downfield. And now Mijares and this Buena team are really starting to find their groove. Complete to Connor MacArthur, who's had 2 big catches in this 4th quarter. Buena back in business. 1st and 10 on the 42-yard line of Royal.
I've got him 11 of 19 for 197 yards.
I'll tell you what the big play was that we were looking for. It was that 3rd down play to find Connor MacArthur. Mijares was nearly sacked. He had nowhere to go. He shuffled around, and he found MacArthur, who made a great tiptoe catch.
Yeah, it was a tough angle, but he had a lot of time to find a receiver. He was kind of rolled out to his right, and nobody was near him. And he's able to kind of just really pin the ball in there, like a dart.
Final score, Oxnard 28. Nice, I like that. Oxnard 28, Santa Barbara 6. Raymond Caldera, 23 carries, 195 yards, 2 rushing TDs, and a touchdown on a fumble return, 2. I believe we will see Ventura and Oxnard in early October. That should be a nice one coming up. We get to see the Newbury Park Panthers in a few weeks, by the way, as they host Agora on September 12th. Make sure you join us for that one. This time it's a handoff up the middle. Cookson inside the 30. Cookson down to the 20, and he rolls over into the red zone. Clock stopped. 6 minutes and 2 seconds left to move the chains, and now it's all working for Buena.
Well, I tell you what, he's got to have over 100 yards rushing. I don't have his stats, but he's got to be over 100 yards, easy.
And he didn't come in amassing any yardage a season ago. He wasn't the feature back.
Yeah. The feature back has moved to a wide receiver.
And Noah Martinez seems to be happy with his changed role. The thing that it has allowed him to do is make a lot of big plays, is really to sneak up on the opposition when he does carry the ball, which may happen here. No, it looks like it'll be Cookson again. Looks like it'll be the referees again, delay a game. Buena doesn't really care at this point. It meant another 30 seconds went off the clock.
Somebody's birthday.
Yeah, you can't dampen the spirits of this Royal fan base.
No, it's Buena.
No, they're right down below us to the right there, singing, Derry.
Oh, okay.
Are they singing happy birthday to Buena, maybe? I mean, I think that might be how it is, because it seems like it's been a celebration type of night for the Dogs. Cookson gets 4, 2nd and 11.
Josh Cookson on the carry. Tackle made by Austin.
They're just going to run this thing out and close out this game for the most part, aren't they?
Yeah.
A touchdown would finish it. A field goal would still leave this at a 2 TD contest.
Ball spotted at the 21-yard line.
Even in this series, though, Buena can run a lot of time off the clock.
Yep.
Although Maharis electing to throw, albeit a screen pass to Cookson. Blockers in front of him. Scoots to his left. Down inside the 10. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Buena Bulldogs. They will start the season with a win for the first time in some time. A breakout performance from Josh Cookson, who could, by season's end, become a household name in Ventura County. Mightily impressive, Deuce.
And Maharis, hey, 13 of 20, 208 yards and 3 TDs.
Wow. And, by the way, 13 of 20. How many of those were drops? Probably 4?
Oh, yes.
Interesting Buena football team putting their league rivals on alert, especially those Cougars.
Buena now leads 27.
We're taking on Rigetti tonight. This Buena team won 7 of 8 games before losing to Serra. A win tonight would mean in their last 10, Derry, they're 8-2 with a loss to Serra and a loss to Ventura. That is quality play.
Yep. Well, you know, they replaced their receiving corps, and it looks like they haven't missed a beat.
Obviously, Blaine Bennett leaving, and he had 46 catches, 712 yards. You know, one of the things in the Channel League preview written by Rhiannon Potke that stuck out to me that I talked to Tim Gutierrez about. And by the way, the season's just getting up and running. If you want to have a look at any of those previews, I would absolutely urge you to do so. Just head to vcspreps.com and keep up with everything that's going on in all these leagues. In fact, you should do that right now. Take a look at
Not right
the
now.
way we after
Not
the
right
game's
now.
over. After the game's over, in 4 minutes and 51 seconds. One of the things that Buena
AAA
focused
travel
on.
doesn't want you to leave the game now.
It's one of the things that Buena focused on. And I truly say focused was their 31-0 defeat to Ventura. Tim Gutierrez showed that video again to the team just a few weeks ago. And how often do you see a team get beaten badly by one of their rivals, and the coach's approach is, we're never watching that tape. I don't want my guys thinking about it. We need to move on from it. But Tim Gutierrez says, we need to remember how easily we can lose focus and how badly we got our butts whipped. We need to take a stronger approach to the game, and that's what they've done tonight.
Yeah, it was a game where they could have won the league championship. Wasn't that right? They had a chance to win the league title by winning their last 2 games.
They did end up beating Dos Pueblos. Here's Shimbado. We've seen him pull a miracle before, although it seems unlikely. What a fresh and interesting attitude that Gutierrez took. And he told me, quote, we weren't mature enough to handle that situation. The adversity got to us. We weren't able to rally around each other. What a statement of his team last year, and the fact that he would have confidence to say that to a journalist knowing where his team is at this year.
Well, it's still a Buena program that's still trying to kind of establish a continuity since Rick Scott's departure. You know, they had those 4 seasons after he left where they really were not very good. So an 0-10 season in there, a couple 2 and 3 wins. Cliff Farrar came in there and they won a league championship and it had some good seasons. But I mean, they want to get back to where they were in the 90s when they were having the 8 and 9 win seasons on a consistent basis.
No question. And Coach Gutierrez obviously frustrated at the way things went last year, as River Mesa picks up the first down. Clock stopped at 4:04. But now he has a chance to get things started on the right foot. Now it's a 3-game homestand, Derry. 3 consecutive contests at Buena Stadium. This team could be heading into late September 4-0.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it would be quite a turnaround from last season, which they had such a horrible start.
Exactly. Really, really different opening to the season forthcoming for Buena, it seems, as Shimbato completes that pass forward. Make sure to check out VCStar.com this weekend for the VCS Preps post-game extra. Final thoughts from Derry and I, as well as complete highlights from tonight's game between Royal and Buena.
When does that get posted?
Sometime over the weekend. I have to be.
Oh, you don't want to be tied down to anything. That's right, you're at the USC game.
Yeah, I got to be at the Coliseum in the morning, man. Give me a
see.
break.
No breaks. No breaks. You were on my case the whole game.
Give me a break.
I'm not giving you a break, man.
I actually, hopefully we can have it up tomorrow. It may not be up until Sunday. This is definitely a holiday weekend crowd, though, isn't it, for a home opener? This is
That's
a lot of people are out of town.
I was kind of surprised that there were so many games across Ventura County this weekend because people take vacations. I mean, this is a holiday.
But if you're a
For
coach,
some schools haven't even started school yet.
but if you're a coach, Deuce, don't you desperately want that break in the middle of the season? Don't you really want to have week 5 or 6 as a bye instead of week 0? I think a lot of coaches made a point of that, ensuring that their bye was right in the middle of the year.
It has taken a while to get to this point because it's been like 2, 3, 4 games, maybe 6 or 7, but nearly everybody's playing today. I mean, this is the largest.
Moore Park and Simi Valley on October the 10th.
Do you know when Royals Field will be available?
Yeah, it will be available for possibly the Moore Park game. That's the highest likelihood, but definitely the Simi game. Week 5 is when it is supposed to be available. 2 minutes, 21 seconds to go. On the VCS Preps Game of the Week presented by AAA Travel, Shimbato flushed, gets away from one, now spinning back to the other side, still hoping to throw. They can't bring him down. He throws toward the end zone. That is caught in the end zone. Touchdown Highlanders, 27-15. Probably too little too late, but it can build some confidence in this group heading into a tough game away to Golden Valley next week.
Well, you look for any little thing that you can get to carry over for the next week.
I couldn't agree more, Deuce. Quick onside kick. Maybe they can drive back down the field and pull to within a score in the final minute. I wouldn't write him off. Royal has 2 timeouts left. Why do you think that Royal was able to finally get in the end zone here? That was just a great play from Shimbato, obviously. But did the Buena defense switch off a little bit now that they took this advantage?
You would think that they would. They would have rested some
It's
of their
natural,
guys.
yeah. Especially the opening game of the season.
They've been so physical throughout the whole game, kind of maybe, okay, we don't want to get anybody hurt. We've got a lead. It would take a miraculous finish by Royal to pull the one out here.
27-16 with 2:08 left. They'll surely kick an onside kick. If they recover the onside kick, they're back in business.
But they would have to score real quick.
Very quickly. Omar Cabanas, the lefty, will kick from the 40. It will be angled to the near side, you have to think. I'd say Dylan Reynolds is the top candidate. Try and scoop this one up, the 6'2 junior. Here's Cabanas' first onside kick. And that one is held on to by Blake Burnett, who I think can be an emerging star for these Buena Bulldogs, even though he had a little bit of a rough go tonight. A lot of drop passes, but two big touchdowns.
Two big touchdowns, and Made a couple other good catches.
He did. I'm just being a perfectionist, which is what any Buena Bulldog would appreciate, even if it's coming from a Cougar. 1st and 10 on the 46. Mijares remains in the game, and the penalty flag's down, interestingly enough.
So, what? How could that be a legal procedure?
You're the one that knows about football. I'm just standing here talking.
I was sitting and watching, and I didn't see what led to that call.
Tough night for Fillmore so far. They trail Grace Brethren 21-0 in the 4th quarter. Westlake 37-3 over Canyon.
Hey, Grace Brethren's going to be a pretty good team.
Yeah, they are going to be a good team.
I think they've got to be the favorite there in the Frontier League.
It would appear so at this point. Howard has 2 touchdown catches, by the way.
It's going to be tough for Fillmore. They're now in the Tri-Valley League, so that's going to be tough.
It'll be really challenging in the Tri-Valley League, and then trying to maneuver even if you reach the playoffs in the Northern Division. Royal is electing not to call timeouts, and we'll basically close this night out in a couple plays' time. As I said, stay tuned to VCS Preps over the weekend for the post-game extra with thoughts from Derry and I and highlights from the contest itself. And, of course, pick up your copy of the Ventura County Star in the morning. If you like being in the know about high school football, subscribe to the Star, and discover what's happening in your neighborhood. Hey, it's week 0. Give me a break. And it's, of course, a price less than your daily cup of coffee. Stay in the know. Sign up today, vcstar.com. And once more, I'd love to thank AAA Travel. For your vacation needs, visit your local Ventura County Auto Club office. They're in Ventura, Camarillo, Tio, and Simi. Just visit aaa.com/travel for more information. 3rd down and 13, 45 seconds to go. Inside handoff goes for nothing. And Buena may have to punt this away. I think they will. So pretty much close things out, Deuce. A nice win for Buena. You can hear how excited they are on the Bulldog sideline. Great way to start the season.
I think this is it.
Exactly.
Game, set, match.
That's going to do it, Derry. 27-16. The Bulldogs triumph on the road over Royal. Your thoughts, pal?
Well, I thought that Royal just lost a little momentum when they had chances to score early in the game. And had they been able to score a couple touchdowns, it's a completely different game. But with by stopping Royal and holding to the 2 field goals, Buena was able to find itself offensively. They really rode that momentum from what the defense gave them, and they really pounded them inside with the downs. There was really not a lot that Royal could do defensively to counter them.
And you see the Buena team gathering on the right-hand side. They are fired up at the way they have started this season. They were the more A travel. A big win for Buena. Next week we're out at Oak Park as the Eagles look to get back on track against the 2-time defending division champion Nordhoff Rangers. But tonight it's all about the Bulldogs. Our producer, director, and engineer out here, Anthony Placencia. For my broadcast partner, Derry Eads, my name is Danny Page. It's been an absolute pleasure to be with you here on the VCS Preps Game